Alright, so first things first, as you can see, I'm still using Linux. Linux will always be my primary operating system of choice. I got a bit of stuffy nose right now. As you can see, I'm running the 5.6.2 kernel right now. Linux Mint is going to be upgraded to 20 soon. But the problem then comes with the fact that there are a rare few things that you just can't do on Linux. And unfortunately, you need a secondary operating system for this. Now, I have said that I haven't used Windows since Vista, and what I mean by that is I haven't used it as my primary operating system. I think I've used Vista maybe for total 20 minutes before I said, fuck this shit. I wouldn't count 20 minutes of use as using an operating system. Little confusing terminology, I know. I think I've used 7, maybe a total of 10 hours, and that was over the course of its life up until Windows 10, until recently. Basically because libraries, if I have to go in there and look up something, most of their computers were running Windows 7. I really didn't have a fucking option. I did. I could have plugged in a USB stick and booted off that, but the way they manage their shit is just terrible, and I actually had to talk to the IT department at one library because I went onto my Amazon account, and the way it is set up, for whatever reason, it would not forget my login to Amazon, so I had a problem with that. And this is why you don't put personal information on public computers. Luckily, Amazon's really good with their passwords and shit, and you still need my password to log in and do shit, so it's not anything I need to worry about, and that computer's probably been thrown out by now. I haven't had any issues that I've noticed from Amazon. If anyone had taken control of my account, I would have known by now. The problem then comes with, okay, well, Linux is my primary, I do everything on Linux. What operating system am I going to need for the rare few? And the rare few things is one of which we're going to be talking about, which I'll get to that last. There are peripherals for game consoles that you need Windows for, or Mac, like action replay devices for cheat codes. Controllers sometimes have software updates. You need Windows or Mac to do that. Basic shit like that, really. One thing I've noticed in the Linux community in general is I have always had problems with Manjaro. I'm sure it's a fine operating system. I actually have given it praise before. But the biggest problem I have is I can't boot into a live environment unless I download it onto a DVD, because you need Rufus to install it to a flash drive. And the problem then comes with, it doesn't matter if I use the program here that comes with it, so I can flash an ISO image to a USB stick, or even Balena Etcher. Those don't work. And the only way I know of to download Rufus would be Mac or Windows. I think Windows actually is the only one. I'm not sure if it runs on Mac. Don't quote me on that. Same thing with Windows ISO. If you want to be able to boot that, you need Rufus. And I think that's the biggest problem with Manjaro, is the fact that I need a proprietary operating system to download an ISO fucking pisses me off. But I have no problem doing it through a USB. Doing it through a DVD. So that's a problem. The other thing I needed a secondary operating system for was downloading my eBooks, because as I've made two videos about actually recently, when you buy digital, you don't actually own jack shit, and that is why I will give credit where credit is due with Amazon. If you buy music digitally, there is no DRM. You can just download it to your computer, and it's yours to do with what you want. But that being said, I do not buy digital games. I refuse to. All my games are physical. And on that note, I'm actually considering not buying the Xbox Series X simply because you can't replace the fucking hard drive in it. Um, if I do get an Xbox, I'll probably get the Series X sometime down the line. I'll probably get the original Xbox before I do that, though, because backwards compatibility, from what I've seen with the Series X, isn't what I was hoping for. It's basically going to be a continuation of the games they've already supported through backwards compatibility, and the Xbox Series X games. So you're still going to need an original Xbox, an Xbox 360, and eventually these consoles aren't going to work anymore, and it's going to be impossible to fix. And it really sucks because at least Nintendo and a few other companies are remaking their games from their old consoles that were popular and making them available on the newer systems. I don't know what the fuck PlayStation's doing at this point. I'm hoping it's better, but I really don't have hopes for it that much. I'm considering my options with gaming personally, but today we wanted to talk about eBooks. So I had an option, go Mac or go Windows, and I really don't want to fucking go Mac. The operating system is Unix based, it's very stable, and I gotta give credit where credit is due. Apple makes a great fucking operating system. It's very intuitive. Even my Apple TV, you can find the fucking remote, has like a touchpad here. It's very easy, very user friendly to just grab it and swipe with my thumb. But the Apple TV is really the only good piece of hardware they've ever made. Everything else is just fucking overcomplicated to shit and hard to fix or replace. And it's over fucking priced shit. And I just can't see myself using any of their hardware, which means I would have to go Hackintosh, not Macintosh. Hackintosh, which means building a PC and putting Apple's OS on it, which is its own deal of problems and not very easy. And then there's the fact that I would have to learn a different keyboard layout, which is not something I really want to do. So I had to go Windows. And for the first time in my life, I've actually started using Windows again. Now what I did was I installed it onto a second hard drive, which is actually plugged in by eSATA on this computer right now. So if we go here, you can see this is my Windows hard drive here. And this is why I encrypt my hard drives, by the way, with Linux, because I can't tell you how many times I've found a computer in the trash, taken the hard drive out, and people's business operations were on there, their passports. Literally, I could have taken millions of dollars from people's businesses because of the shit they've done, not taking care of their private information. I'm not that big of an asshole, though. Now, what version of Windows did I go with? Windows 10, unfortunately. But I didn't go with mainstream Windows 10. I went with LTSC, which is the enterprise version. It doesn't have any of the privacy crap. It doesn't have Cortana or any of that shit. It doesn't have the web apps or any of that bullshit. It's a very, I don't want to say good, but it's good enough. It's lightweight, it does what it needs to do. It doesn't have all the bloated shit. And as I said, I'm only using it for a couple things, so it's barely ever used. Now, I got a license for $5 off eBay, so considering that usually 5 of them cost anywhere from $300 to $800, $5 is pretty big bargain. So that's that. I'm not happy about it. Here on Linux, though, if I have it set, so you can see my taskbar down here. Not taskbar, whatever the fuck you want to call this here. What is it? Panel. Okay, so you can see my panel down here. And if I maximize, it's glitching out right now because my computer's overheating. You can see it covers the panel. Now, on Windows 10, you can hide the panel, but it hides the panel all the time. It's not like Linux where you can choose hide the panel at all times or only Windows can cover it. I wish Windows would do better, but it's fucking Windows. So I'm constantly stuck with looking at a panel even when I'm in full screen, unfortunately. Again, it's not something you use every day, so it doesn't really fucking matter. But these are the reasons why I fucking hate Windows. And why I really don't want to use it. And unfortunately, while ReactOS is an open source version of Windows, it's still in fucking alpha. It's been in alpha for over 20 fucking years. So you really don't have a fucking option there. Now the problem with using an LTSC is mine was done in 2019. So if I use any hardware that came out after the LTSC version came out, it won't fucking work. So yeah, it's not the best scenario to be using enterprise LTSC version of Windows, but yeah, I mean, it has a lot of downfalls. It's fucking Windows, but for what I'm doing, it works just fine, and I'm not really worried. So going back to eBooks, one of the things I downloaded that I still have to buy a license for next month is called ePubor. ePubor? I don't fucking know how you pronounce this. ePubor. I don't fucking know. It's a dumb name. But what ePubor, or whatever the fuck you want to pronounce that as, ePubor, I don't fucking know. It decrypts, converts Kindle, Adobe, Sony, Kobo, and Google eBooks to whatever file you want. EPUB is the one I use. As you can see, it currently supports Windows 7, 8, and 10. And, excuse me, I had pasta for dinner. Mac OS 10.8, 10.11, and later. Now, because Windows 7 isn't getting security updates, that's kind of why I went 10 LTSC. But basically what you do is you install the Kindle app for your desktop, you download your books as you normally would in the app, and then it automatically scans the files and you just drag it over with your mouse and it will decrypt it, and then you can download it to your files, and then you can move that file to an external hard drive. And it's a lot of work, yes, but unfortunately, because eBooks are DRM ridden pieces of shit, and you know, the thing you gotta worry about is this: what if you spent $800 on a ton of ebooks or games or whatever, and then one day there's a licensing dispute or some shit, and I got news for you, it's gonna go away. Doesn't matter. If the company shuts down, you're fucked. You're out $800. There's a lot of scenarios where if you buy something digitally, you're gonna lose it at some point. You could. And if you lose it, you're definitely gonna lose your fucking money. And that's kind of the problem here. So I just wanted to make this quick video. It's 13 minutes. I'm gonna wrap this up. I don't want to ramble too much. But yeah, if you use any of these and you're interested in downloading your books, so there's no DRM or bullshit, and you actually want to own your books, maybe you have an open source reading app that can allow you to read EPUBs or whatever. There's plenty of them out there. Maybe you don't want to use the internet to read your books. Maybe you want to actually just have it on your device. Whatever the fucking case is, I highly suggest you download the software or buy a license for it. And support things like this, because it is allowing us to take back what we rightfully own. If you pay money for something, you should be able to own it. And it makes no sense to me that we are in a digital age here where we're constantly buying shit that we actually aren't buying. We're buying a license, we're buying the right to use something. And that is a fucking waste of money. And I don't support it. And if I have to break a couple rules and violate some EULA and download my fucking ebooks, that's what I'm gonna do. And I highly encourage other people to do the same. I don't really condone piracy, but I can understand why people do. I've done it. Uh, but I would much rather not pirate shit because it's getting worse. If you thought like LimeWire and shit had a ton of viruses, it's everywhere, and it is getting worse. It's very hard to find any pirated shit that doesn't have viruses nowadays. Um, and that's one of the reasons why I'm supporting stuff like ePoobar. They're not sponsoring me or anything. It's just great software. I've used it. I've yet to buy a license, but from what I've used, um, it actually does very well. And it's very easy to use. It's simple. And yeah, go check out that software. I'm going to end this video now. And that was that. And I'll make a video talking about Windows 10 and Windows in general later on this week, if I can. So I'll see you guys later. I don't know how to end videos. I'm gonna watch TV.